All the dead have stories. There is a place where these horrors are transcribed.
I'm not sure where I'm going. I felt like I was being followed.
We're headed to Ravenmore. Is it a nice place?
No.
Yeah.
The dead. They're so much closer than you realize.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Film Optix review brought to you by the Drive-In Podcast Network. I'm your host, Christian, and today we will be reviewing the latest Hulu original film, Books of Blood. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host and my good friend, Devin. How are you doing, man? It's Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Taco
Last
Tuesday.
time we recorded on a Tuesday.
It's been a while. We normally record on Sundays, but, you know, since we've been getting some nice little screeners here and there, we've been changing it up a little bit, you know? Got to give the people what they want. So
Respect the grind.
Yeah, for sure. Man, I'm like itching to talk about some gaming content, though. We got to do that soon. Because I know we were supposed to, then things fell through. But definitely want to get some people on for that. That'll be a lot of fun. But how's your week been so far? I know it's only Tuesday, but I figured I'd ask.
It's going, I guess. How's yours?
It's all right. I mean, yesterday went by pretty quick. Today was kind of a slow burn. I mean, you know, we're moving into Wednesday, so we'll just have to. It'll be hump day. It's the middle of the week, so we can't really get too crazy about that. But I mean, it's better than nothing, I guess. So yeah, it's been good. Just, you know, another week. We're about a month away from next-gen consoles, which is very exciting, but a lot of other news out there that is not so very exciting, but we'll save that for our news podcast later on in the week. So before we begin today's podcast, you can listen to this show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, Red Circle, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music, and of course, Red Circle. Actually, I already said Red Circle. I'm sorry. My bad. Anyway, do you want to tackle the synopsis this time? I feel like I'm always the one reading it, and I normally butcher it. So
It's a nice short one for me.
Yeah.
A journey into uncharted and forbidden territory through three tales tangled in space and time. It really makes it sound epic.
I mean, that's pretty much what it is. Like, and okay, before we get any further, are we doing a non-spoiler or are we going all spoilers? I mean, we're releasing. Oh, let's do non-spoilers because we're releasing it on the day that it comes out. But before we begin, again, we would like to thank Hulu for allowing us to watch and review this film. So, just wanted to throw that out there.
Don't hate us.
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever. I mean, okay, so let's see. The Embargo review for this was yesterday, I believe, and it comes out Wednesday, which as of this recording, it'll already be out. Usually, that means that there's, well, from what I've been told from certain people, that some studios don't really have that much faith in films that have an embargo date that's like super close to release. That's kind of what happened with like Project Power. But I mean, hey, we watched it. There was some good parts I enjoyed, but overall it was meh. But of course, this does again release October 7th. So as of this recording, it'll be out. And the film stars Britt Robertson. I almost said Robert Brittinson.
Robert Brittinson. I like it.
Rafi Gavron and Friel. Vazquez and Freda Shen. So that's just
not the A tier actors.
Yeah,
but
there was one person I recognized in all of these, maybe two. But yes, this is more of like an anthology film. Of course, this is based off of Clive Barker's acclaimed and influential horror anthology, Books of Blood. So yeah, it's. I mean, I guess you can say it's kind of like Monsterland, but it's a movie instead of a TV show.
Yeah, I found that anthology movie, like horror movies, are a little more inconsistent than TV shows. It's just like it's harder to fit like a good story into that time frame than it is if you give it a whole episode. It just feels like it's not as well drawn out.
You mean for a movie, like anthology wise, it's not as
Yeah, I
drawn
feel
out?
like
Okay.
I mean, there's like those VHS movies, and there's like
Oh yeah.
ABCs of Death, which are anthology horror movies that like they're just pretty inconsistent overall.
Yeah, I mean, like the concept is really cool, but I guess in practice, especially when it comes to movie, it just doesn't really flow as well as you think it would. But
It just feels like with the show, you have a concrete beginning and end to the story that you're telling for the most part within the episode, so it's easier for the audience to just kind of lock in on what you're trying to say.
okay, so it's like American Horror Story or The Haunting of Hill House or Billy Manor
Or Monsterland. It's like
or Monsterland. Yeah.
they're their own episodes. So you're like, okay, for the most part, that was one contained story. There will be some tie-ins throughout, but they're not going to force tie-ins, kind of
Right,
like the movies do.
I see what you're saying. I got you. Yeah, that does make sense. I mean, watching this at first, I didn't really know what to expect. So I mean, it's it's Halloween month. Figured why not get into the festivities, even though I still don't get it. Like I just don't. I don't think I'll ever understand why people love Halloween so much. I understand why people like October because it's fall, but Halloween, I don't know.
That's part of the magic of Halloween.
I guess
fall.
so. Well, I mean, even with this movie, Books of Blood, it technically follows 3 stories. Yeah, 3 stories. I wouldn't really call I mean, it does, wrap in, everything's connected. The ending is a little weird.
I'll say the first story made me want to stop watching. So I don't know.
Wait. You mean with the 2...
the Britt Robertson.
Britt Robertson.
who had good hearing, I guess.
Oh, yeah, good.
She had really good hearing, and it ruined her life. That was pretty much the story.
Apparently, it's like it's an actual like thing.
Yeah, I know. It's just like
It's kind of like
the way they portrayed it was just like, I don't know.
I mean,
She wasn't very interesting.
Right. Yeah, and the first story, like at first I was like, okay, I just didn't know where it was going. Like, I mean, obviously, there was there was a few hints throughout where you can kind of piece things together. I was surprised for like a half a second. I'm like, oh wait, never mind. I've seen this before. I feel like I've seen something like this before. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like it wasn't terrible. Like, but there wasn't any real reason.
And then
for
the
her
ending of
character.
the first story made me want to just stop there. I was like, really? That's
It just
we won't get into it too much. But
Right. No, I know exactly with the first story and then but like between the first and second one, which one did the 2 main
I
stories.
guess technically the first one is the 2 guys. That's kind of like the third one that wraps around the middle 2.
Yeah, the middle 2. Yeah. That's okay. So would you would consider that the first one? So the second story.
I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
I don't know who those guys were or what they were doing.
I don't either.
I just really don't.
I was like, who are you? Like, who do you work for? Why
They're just
are
looking
you
for a book? That's
Yeah,
all
they're
we
just looking
know.
for a book called The Books of Blood, and we don't know why. But obviously, I feel like if you have read the novels from Clive Barker.
Yeah, he's a horror legend. He did Candyman, Hellraiser, a couple other movies. Yeah, he's a legend.
Well,
Not
yeah.
sure about this one though.
Well, I'm sure his books are obviously way better, but I mean, I don't even know if he even really like tied into this project.
Yeah, he's one of the writers on IMDb.
Oh,
Mostly
God.
for the book, I'm guessing. But
I'm assuming based on the book, like they probably have to give him credit because they are using his property, his characters, his story. But yeah, so okay, so we'll say over the first story, the prologue to everything. That was like the first little story with the 2 guys, and then Britt Robinson's character, and then we have the guy.
The next one, that one to me was definitely the most interesting.
Yeah, it kind of was.
It was like a nice revenge story. I feel like that could have been like its own, if not movie, its own episode or something. Because that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, Rafi Gavron. he was also in A Star Is Born. Well, he pretty much told Jackson Maine to go fuck himself, and like I was like,
he was the douchey.
He was the douche
guy.
Yep, that was him.
I thought he looked familiar.
It's like, you have a douchey vibe to you. Have I seen you in anything else? Click on IMDb. Yep, there we go.
He was naked a lot in this movie. If you're interested,
he was. Yeah, I mean, if you like guys' butts, go for it. Absolutely, have a feel
lot.
Day. Yeah, like a lot. Yeah,
more guy ass I've seen in a long time.
More Gavron than you would like to see.
Yeah, those Gavron cheeks.
See, I didn't know he was actually from the UK. That's interesting. I thought he was just playing an American with a UK accent, but I was proven wrong. But so with this movie, I guess so. Yeah, with the first story, we've kind of covered it. Were you like expecting what happened to happen, like when she got there? Okay. Let me try to reel this in so I don't spoil anything. Did you expect?
I knew something was going to happen, but I didn't know exactly that.
Okay. Same here. What about the second story? Like you said, it was a little bit more on the darker side. It was more supernatural versus the first story. Does that make any sense? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it was, and then
the way they tried to tie it all together, it felt pretty forced at the end.
I mean, like like when. Damn, I can't say anything. Never mind. Yeah, so I do agree that they kind of tried to everything's. It's like forcefully trying to put everything together.
All the characters are connected. Here you go. Here's your evidence.
It's kind of like with Devil All the Time, but I like the way Devil All the Time did it a lot better. But that wasn't really like a horror film. It's just I think. Would you say the horror was on point, or did you say the story was off, or vice versa, or
a little both?
A little bit of both. Yeah.
I feel like if you're on Hulu and you want to watch an anthology horror, just watch Monsterland.
That is very true. Yeah, I would recommend Monsterland over this.
Specifically, go to our review and watch the ones that we recommended the most.
Exactly. And even with like the aesthetics of this movie, like it just didn't really like some of the CGI was a bit. I was like, all right, really? Like, do you know what scene I'm talking about in the second story?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, okay. Look, PS2 looking graphics. Get out of here. It's like that Fast and Furious video game that they pumped out like 2 years ago. And it looks like it belongs on the PlayStation 2.
They came out like 2 months ago.
They were so excited.
Worst game of the year.
They were like, we're so happy for fans to get to play our Fast and Furious game. I'm like, bro, this looks like it came out like 20 years ago. I'm sorry, but it does. But anyways, who were some of your favorite performances from Books of Blood?
I mean, there really aren't many to choose from.
If you had to choose one,
I guess Gavron and his cheeks would be my top choice.
Yeah, I was gonna see either him or Britt Robertson. I mean, I thought she did like an okay job. Like it wasn't like outstanding. Like, oh my gosh, like she's amazing.
I'm not gonna remember that story a couple days from now.
No, I'm not either. I'm not gonna remember it. And yeah,
I'll at least remember the Gavron story because that was
fair enough.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah, it definitely was more interesting than. But I mean, it's kind of like with like. With Quibi, it's like
that's the issue with like an anthology film. It's like you can't choose to just watch one part of it. You have to watch. You have to watch
all of it. Yeah,
you're stuck into watching the ones that aren't really as good.
Yeah, that is true. And yeah, in our Monsterland video, we kind of you kind of already touched on that. We kind of go through the episodes you should watch, the ones you shouldn't. and just stay away from, because they really had nothing to the story whatsoever. So there's always that. But yeah, would you recommend this to someone else? I mean, you probably will never watch this again. I'm definitely never going to watch this again.
And I also would not recommend it.
Fair enough. So let's just wrap this up and get into our score, shall we?
Let's do it.
So, Devin, out of a score of 100, what would you give the Hulu original film Books of Blood?
Let's see. Let's go with around 20 per cheek times 2. Let's give it a 40.
I was gonna give it a 40.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm look at me, not caring about movies as much, not giving them the benefit.
Your math to get there might have been a little different than mine.
I literally was thinking, I'm like, it's either 40 or 50. I was like, I'm really just not. I didn't like. I mean, it wasn't like I wasn't like. It kept me entertained enough, but like only because we were recording it, so I actually had to pay attention. But yeah, I mean, there were times where I kind of like, checked my phone, whatever, and it's like it wasn't really engaging for me. Like when I watched Trials of Chicago 7, like I honestly like couldn't like keep my eyes off the TV. Like I was right there. So yeah, 40 from me out of 100 and 40 out of 100 from Devin as well. So that pretty much concludes this review of Books of Blood. Definitely check it out. If you're just, looking for something to...
If you've got nothing else.
Yeah, if you got nothing else to do. I think the runtime's around an hour 45, if I'm not mistaken. But, yeah, that pretty much wraps that up. So moving forward for us, The Boys... season finale is going to be
so sad.
Yeah, it's very, very sad. It's going to be debuting this coming up Friday, so we're going to pump out a season 2 review for you guys. We did a season 1 review when we were underneath a different podcast name. I don't know if I should like re-upload that. I mean, it's on our podcast already, so I don't think I should. I mean, I'll just plug it in Twitter or whatever and be like, hey, if you haven't watched Boys Season 1, check it out. But yeah, so we do plan on reviewing that this coming up weekends. We don't know when we're going to pump it out just yet. Probably either at least at the latest, at least by Sunday. But other than that, we are going to be reviewing, what is it, Bad Hair? Another Hulu original movie. And of course we have the Sarah Paulson movie from Hulu, Run. So whenever that releases, we'll definitely keep an eye out for that one, because I was looking forward to that one, to be honest. And we still haven't gotten A Quiet Place. I really wish Sean Krasinski would have just dropped the ball and said, hey, you know what, happy Halloween, here's your Quiet Place Part 2. But
we're not going to get any movies this year or next year,
dude. I honestly, I feel like everything is going to be pushed back next year as well. Like absolutely, because how many times has Wonder Woman been pushed back? This is like the 6th or 7th time it hasn't moved, huh?
And James Bond,
and The Matrix technically got moved up. Dune got pushed back, and so did the Batman. So like, yeah, there really isn't any there's like nothing. Like absolutely nothing. I guess the good news is we might get Tenet on Blu-ray, so there's that. But before we part here, Lovecraft Country, sorry, going back to our other reviews, that's also coming up. I think we have 2 more episodes left before we dive into that. So within, not next week, but the week after next. So yeah, that's coming up too. But of course, you can make sure to check out the other podcasts on the Drive-In Podcast Network, a team that we're very proud to be a part of. They make some great content. We got Oscar Talk, there's movies, there's music, there's commentaries. We in sports. If you like sports, I mean, we're in the middle of football season. Do we know when the Steelers are going to play next? No, but that's okay. Go ahead and check out
Tennessee.
Hey, yeah, I'm kind of bummed out about it. I'm not gonna lie, but everyone, make sure to check out the Drive-In Podcast Network. The link will be in the description of the podcast description itself. So, yeah, my name is Christian, and that was Devin, and we will see you all in the next one.
Peace.